Hello, this is Elsie Hines, Gustoy 11, well, depending on whether I'm putting this on Facebook or YouTube, which I'm doing both, so, yeah. I made a video similar to this a while back about my impressions on, the 2 issues of Ultimate Comic Spider-Man I had. It's kind of a, I don't know, just an impression about the whole idea, the concept of this new Spider-Man, which I really enjoyed. I kept on reading, got all the issues from my local comic book store, which are only 2 in Vermont, literally. So today, I had bought the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man trade. Now this is issues 1 through 5 of the new, don't want to call it continuity, whatever you want to call it. Kind of new story about this character, Miles Morales, who is the new Spider-Man, who just happens to be black. So that's something. I just kind of want to go over the fact that this is the character's origin story. This pretty much explains who Miles is, how he becomes Spider-Man, and how he becomes Spider-Man. And before the video, at the time of my previous video, I had mainly just talked about just what I thought of the character and what I thought of the concept, and from there on, I bought all the issues over time of that whole, of the whole series, basically, that they had. They're missing a couple issues. They're missing issues 11 through 14, which sucked because I wanted issue 14 specifically, so I couldn't see them because web shooters, but still, and they're missing issues 1 through 7 and back issues. But thankfully they had the trade, so good paycheck for me, team, so I bought it. And I really enjoyed it. In the meantime, I bought a whole bunch of other comics of different types, mostly Spider-Man stuff, but by different writers in terms of like I'm really into Superior Spider-Man. I think it's a really cool concept. Really into Avenging, but those are for other videos. Yeah, I just wanted to say I love this so much. This origin story, this is like the whole book. It goes through Miles from the beginning, just a kid, and at the end, he becomes. If I can find the page, then maybe he'll become. By the end, he becomes, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man, and I think it's really amazing how, how fleshed out the origin story is, because it's not just a couple pages, it's not as simple as how Peter Parker became Spider-Man. Actually, no, I'm going to take that statement back. How he gets his powers is pretty simple, but him actually becoming Spider-Man, that's totally different. Same thing with Peter Parker, I take that back. Yeah, it's such a different backstory from Peter Parker, and Peter Parker dies in this. I always knew Peter Parker died. I learned, before I started reading, I looked up the origin story of Spider-Man. I just read, Wikipedia page and a couple other things. I never really read it. I thought Peter Parker, he died in a completely different, series, which he did. Actually, there's a cover picture, I believe, in the book. I'll look for a while I talk. Basically, Peter Parker died in Ultimate Fallout #4, which I haven't read yet. Yeah, see, there it is. That's the cover for Ultimate Fallout #4. That's what tells how Peter Parker dies. But they show that scene in this trade, and basically Miles' point of view, I should say, because there are a few things that I filled in. Basically, it starts out with Green Goblin fighting Miles. No, sorry, not Miles. Peter Parker. And basically, Miles just shows up because he wants to, I suppose he wants to try to help out. It was never really truly explained, but it's still awesome. But yeah, it's pretty great, because at that point, Miles, he totally gets it up in here why he got the powers. I mean, like, at first, you know, while this is while Peter Parker was alive, he didn't want to be Spider-Man. You know, he felt as though like he couldn't handle it, and he just wanted to be normal. You know, like he didn't want to be mutant, which technically he wasn't a mutant. You know, anatomically speaking, but that's not the point. Anyway, like at first he was like, I don't want to be mutant. We already have a Spider-Man. You know, he seems like he's enjoying it. Why doesn't he just continue doing it? But then it's like, wait a minute, Spider-Man's dead, and I can climb on walls, and I got superpowers. So why don't I become Spider-Man? You know, that's pretty much his position. Well, it's more emotional than that, but you know, like it's really cool. Plus, I think there are so many like really great comedic moments in this series. You know, like they're just like, you know, like I've read it like Bam to Bam, like pretty much almost all the Ultimate comics. They have a good sense of humor in them, like and some pretty epic moments too. Like there's a scene where I think it's happened with Rebirth too. Basically, Miles he's saving this little girl from burning fire, and he doesn't have a costume yet, so he's just, you know, like full identity. And basically, it's really funny. These two firemen, right? They're like, "Oh my god, that was amazing! How'd you do that?" And then Miles just like jumps away, and then this guy's like, "See, I told you, Spider-Man's black." You know, like I just found that really funny. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, like, you know, like Gwen Stacy telling him about responsibility, and like just, I mean, like it has dramatic parts, you know, but they sprinkle in humor like really well. Like it's really good banter, you know. It's written excellently, and I gotta, you know, like give props to Bendis for that. You know, I mean, like I've read a couple of his other stuff, and he's, you know, like when he was writing Ultimate Spider-Man, like the previous stuff, it was a similar type of thing, which was still great. I really like witty banter, you know. It's like when something can stand on its own, like writing, you know, in a comic book. That means if some of the other pieces fall apart, like artwork, which it doesn't, but Charlie does a great job in this, you know, like something kind of stands out. There's something to aspire for, so you're not, you know, losing anything, which is really great. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that Miles' character is such a different character from Peter Parker, yet he's still really likable, and you're like, you can totally see that, you know, like to a character like Miles. Miles is kind of timid. You know, he's always been the kid that's kind of been, you know, like kind of pushed around. You know, like he's in the background. You know, like he's less of a nerd though. He just kind of exists. And basically, you know, he's really shy. But once he puts like the Spider-Man costume on, me, like the first time he puts the costume on, he doesn't even have his costume. He just has a rip-off Spider-Man costume from the Halloween store. See right there. You know, like he's like, you know, like messing with the bad guy. He's you know, confident. He just straight into the action. I mean, it's great. You know, you can totally see how the suit, you know, it increases his confidence and his ego, which, you know, that's kind of one of the reasons why Peter Parker like uses his wit so much, and the same thing with Miles in this case. So I just give props to the creative team behind the series as a whole. All the issues I've read, I've thought were really good or loved. And all the ones I haven't, I've heard very good things. You know, I've heard that there hasn't really been a bad issue out of this series yet, and hopefully there won't be. And I'm really excited for issue 21, which comes out on March 30th. Sorry, 20th. So, thank you for watching, those who care about my opinions. Alright, thank you.